I'm just cutting back the tops on these rocket potatoes. You might have seen me planting them a few videos back, and they were the ones that I got, the only ones I could get after shutdown. I was very late ordering my potatoes, so I just had to take what I could get, and they had the very long shoots on them. Wondered about planting them at all, but now I'm a little bit worried. They've grown okay. A bit worried that we've got a few signs of blight on these, just in case it is blight. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to cut these back so that it doesn't spread down into the tubers. We've had a lot of blight warnings just lately, so I shall cut those back and get rid of the tops. They've been covered with a mulch of strolch, which is a straw mulch which you can buy, which has been very good. It's good for when you haven't got space to actually trench your potatoes and dig them in, when you just put them quite shallow in raised beds and small beds like this. You can cover with a mulch. Grass clippings is another thing you can use, and so I've used this strolch, and it's worked quite well. So hopefully when I dig down, and I shall start digging these up fairly soon, we'll find some tubers under there. There are a few. I've been noticing there's a few just starting to, there's a few there which are ready, so it's time to dig them up, and we'll get those stored away before the blight gets to them. So we'll take a little tour around the mini plot and have an update on what's going on. So as I say, this is the little plot that we've been following through the season. The idea being that, you know, we're all in lockdown, and what could you grow in a small space? So hopefully these two little beds, which you could squeeze into most size gardens, they're about sort of 4 foot by 10, something like that, 6 foot by 10. We just thought we'd experiment and see what you could grow. You just see me there with the potatoes, just taking those off the tops off of those in case of blight. And as I say, if we dig down, there are some decent little spuds there just coming on. So I'm hopeful that we'll get a few. There we go. Which isn't bad considering they were, as I say, those poor old potatoes with the great big shoots on them. It's looking quite interesting in places. We've had a few things pop up, like oriental poppies and some Nicotiana, the tobacco plant, which has come up from when these beds were last used as a little cut flower bed, and they're popping up, so I've just left them because it's a bit of colour and the bees love them. Carrots have started to pull, so we've had a few of the Nazareth carrots, which you've got down here. They've not been too bad. They've not been as big as the ones in the polytunnel that we sowed early, but then they're okay. And we've yet to start on the next row along, which is St Valerie, which is supposed to be a carrot fly resistant one, and we'll just see if we can see any tops on those. Oh yeah. So let's see if we can have a look. Oh yeah, it's coming up. Whoops. Coming on okay. Whoops. There, and the tops. So yeah, I'm hopeful that they'll be quite nice. Not one I've grown before. What else have we got to show you? We've got parsnips, which are coming along. They didn't germinate particularly well, so there's not very many of them in there. And they've come up in amongst, but I didn't think they were going to come up. I planted some onions around them. So we've got some onions growing in amongst those as well. Had some nice spring onions out of this bed. And then next to those we've got Romanesco Courgettes, which I love for the flavour. A sort of ribbed courgette, heritage variety, very popular, and lovely taste, a sort of nice nutty flavour, and stay nice and firm, not too many seeds or too much pith in the middle of them. Really nice if you just slightly steam them. Love those, lovely flavour. So moving on, what else have we got? Oh, we've got our Loch Ness blackberries, which have been amazing this year. This plant's only a year old. You can't see too many fruit because we've been eating them, but they're looking very nice in the sunshine and very, very tasty. I'm enjoying those, and I'm hoping there's going to be a blackberry upside down cake for the weekend. I'm promised anyway. So we'll move around the patch. Have a little look here. Got some potatoes, again the old rocket from the same batch as in the ground, in bags. Got a couple of bags of those, another one over there, which are ready to cut down and be pulled out really. So we'll do that a little later. Got some onions down here, which is an Italian variety, if I can find them on the camera. There we go. Just in there, which are all tucked away amongst everything else. It's a little higgledy-piggledy at the moment because some things have grown and others have been harvested. You might remember that I grew some nice lettuces called Valmain in this bed, and I've let one go to seed. It's just growing up there. They're amazing, aren't they, lettuces, when they go to seed? Love to see that. So I'm going to see if I can get some seeds off of it, but also sow some more. It's a little bit hot today. It's the hottest day I think we've had so far. We've been promised 33 degrees, so I won't sow lettuces in that because they do tend to bolt. And I think you can see why I leave the poppies. They're lovely, aren't they? Really love those. Beautiful colour. Swinging round to the other bed here, we've got Blackberry Rubin, which got a nice feature on blackberries actually in Kitchen Garden this month, so do pick it up. Mentions Rubin, mentions Loch Ness. Swing over to Loch Ness, we've got a better picture of it here. Got some nice berries there. That's been absolutely marvellous. Rubin's a bit different, but the primocane type, so it grows more like a autumn raspberry really. You cut the whole thing down at the end of the year. But it does have big berries, very big berries. As I say, I've been eating them, so none to show you at the moment, but they are perhaps a third again as big as some of the ordinary ones, as big as Loch Ness. But as I say, only been in a year, or less than a year, so fruiting pretty well considering how young it is. The Welsh Onions there, which I'm quite pleased with. Had terrible rust last year, no rust on them this year. And my walking onions here, which I've been harvesting the tops off. If you can see them there, the little, rather than flower heads, they have little onions on top, and that will gradually bend down into the ground and propagate itself. But what I've done is to cut off all those, most of these from the tops, and put them in pots, as you'll see in a minute in the greenhouse. All these here amongst the weeds, oh dear, should have weeded, shouldn't I? Have actually just self-set, so they've bent over. I pinned them down initially. You can still see the old shoot here, parent shoot, and they've just bent down into the ground, rooted, and we'll have another clump of onions. But what I'll probably do, they've been in a year, I should probably dig these up now, these Welsh and walking onions, split them up, eat some of them, put the rest back. They're perennial, so quite a nice way to grow onions. Next to those we've got some, what was here was peas in the last video, was peas, one called Valido, which you can read about in the magazine again this month. They did really well, and we also had some chard, which didn't do so well. My rainbow chard got decimated by leaf miner this year, and my beetroot the same, they're all related. Yeah, so terrible this year, so I pulled it out in disgust. I should have made a mental note that I must cover it next year. These dwarf French beans are one called Hilton, again not one I've ever grown, only been in about a week, planted about a week. Obviously they were sown a lot earlier than that. They were sown on the 27th of June, so they're coming on quite well. So not grown it before, only ended up with that variety because that's all they had in the shops, again with lockdown, you know, very limited seed supplies, but looks like it's doing quite well, and hoping it will take over from the red swan that I planted earlier in the polytunnel, which are just finishing, which we'll see in a minute. And then we have our Guinness record runner bean, which I'm hoping is going to be, this is a competition we've got going between the Mudketeers at work, so Emma and Tony and myself, to see who can grow the longest. And I happen to know that Tony's got one which is 17 inches long at the moment, and I'm desperately trying to beat it. The longest I've got at the moment is this one, which isn't too bad. There we go. He's 16 inches at the moment, so and he's still growing, so we'll see. Mind you, so is Tony's still growing, so we'll see how we go and who wins the competition. And you can see the results in the magazine in the November issue, I think. Just a little bit of fun between us. We always have a competition for who can grow the heaviest tomato, the biggest tomato, the most potatoes from a bag, or the longest bean, so it's always a bit of fun that we have. Okay, well that's the little plots. Been really productive this year. And I'm looking at ordering some, or either sowing or ordering some plug plants of veg to plant in September out here, possibly a brassica collection, something like that. Perhaps we'll plant some shallots or winter onions for when this lot has gone. So I hope you enjoyed that update. That's what's going on in my greenhouse polytunnel and out on the little mini plots that we've been experimenting with this year. Do let me know, with the comments below, how you're getting on, what you're growing, successes, failures, all those sorts of things. And don't forget, of course, we've got some great subscription offers for Kitchen Garden. www.classicmagazines.co.uk. Order it by subscription, get your free seeds every month, get it delivered to your door, and it's packed with advice and information to help you grow better veg and fruit. So that's all from me, and hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to talk to you again soon. If you've enjoyed this video, press the like button, and also give us a comment, let us know what you're doing in the garden at the moment. And if you like our videos generally, it'd be really great if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel.